fuego. Why this Three of Wands was in the reverse, yo no sé. But we're going to fix that really quick before we get into this reading. Hopefully the chat loads and cooperates today. Hopefully. Hopefully. What's going on, fam? Year. What's going on, guys? I hope you guys had a good... What is today? Today's Saturday. All day today. I hope you guys had a good day today. I hope that you guys had a productive or relaxing day, whichever one y'all was aiming for. I hope everyone had a good holiday. For those of y'all who celebrate, I hope the kids had a blast. Shout out to all the fam that actually reached out and sent me photos of the kids and their costumes. This morning I was looking through all the emails. I got a few text messages. I got a few messages on Facebook of you guys sending the pictures. So I just opened them, as many as I could. I opened them this morning. And I was like cracking up and going back and forth with everybody who sent me the messages. So shout out to y'all. This is not going to be a long message. At least that's not the intention. But all these cards that's coming out, I don't know. Listen, let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all a little story about how yesterday didn't end for me officially. I didn't even get but like 3 hours, if that. For those of y'all who were here with me yesterday, y'all know I already didn't get like 2 hours the night before that. So I'm technically still like on Thursday time, even though today's Saturday. Technically, that's where I'm at right now. So your girl been in pajamas all day. I've been at home. I've been working all day, just catching up with certain things that I needed to do between Friday and Thursday, and a little bit of stuff that I wanted to catch up on, that I wanted to get out the way for today. So that's kind of been my day. I've been home all day, which is why I look a little bit crazy. We're gonna pull some cards. We're gonna talk about the energies. We're going to do all the things because that's what we said we were gonna be doing from 10:10 to 11:11. So here we are. When I get off the live, I'm gonna jump in the shower. When I get out the shower in a little while, we're gonna be live on the vlog channel. So that's why I'm telling y'all, giving y'all play for play. I'm gonna do a little bit of like a get ready with me on the vlog channel because yesterday was Halloween, you know, for the kids and all that stuff. Tonight is Halloween senior. It's gonna be like for adults. I know there was a lot of people who went to parties and shit yesterday, but like I was working. So tonight we going to the party, okay? And it's also been quite a few years before I've been to any type of fucking gathering or functioning, because when I tell y'all your girl been in jail for the last I don't know how many years, I've been in jail. So I kind of wanted to do like a little get ready with me, kind of chit chat with y'all and all the things. So that's what we doing. We got a little bit of like a schedule / time crunch. I'm also waiting for 2 big ass packages that should be getting here in the next probably like half an hour. So we might have to take like a little bit of a break if nobody's inside, because as I'm starting this, I'm by myself here, which is a very rare occurrence. So all of that to say, we're gonna start out with the glow in the dark tarot. That's the deck that we're gonna pull from. I actually meant to pull from the deck that Izzy brought us from Puerto Rico. When I grabbed the deck, I realized that what I grabbed was actually the Deviant Moon, and we not doing that today. I don't got the time to do that right now. I can't. No puedo. Maybe tomorrow, then I'm lying. Probably we might fuck around on Tuesday and do it. Because I would say Monday, but I don't want to start the week on that energy. So we're going to get into the Deviant Moon. Not today. So let's get into the cards. Let's pull some messages. And yeah, we're just going to vibe out. I got the 10 of Cups, first card out. And the Empress. 10 of Cups and the Empress. The next card was face down. It is the 6 of Swords. Ten of Cups, Empress, Six of Swords, right? The next card that came out, and I didn't even know there was a card under it, it's the Devil energy, Capricorn energy with the Four of Swords. Let's see, right? Nine of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, the Hangman, the Two of Wands, Justice, Libra energy, we love to see it, and the Fool, last card out. So, really quickly, just off the rip, the Empress and the Ten of Cups tells me that somebody here is focusing on the bigger picture, or somebody has set focus on the bigger picture. This also tells me that because it's on the table means that whoever I'm tapping into previously, for whatever reason, wasn't able to or couldn't look at something for the greater good, or couldn't look at like the greater scheme of things, couldn't look at something for the bigger picture. Somebody might have been, and I'm saying somebody, but it's someone who's in the Empress position. You could be in that Empress energy now, but just last week you wasn't, right? And when you wasn't in the Empress energy, you were failing to look at something for the greater good. You were failing to look at something as a whole. You were failing to look at something, and if this is not you, it's someone else. It's just the energy. Someone here couldn't see something for, they're telling me for what it was worth. But honestly, I don't even think that that's sufficient for the message here. Because it just feels to me like someone was either too ego-driven or too selfish in a way. Because it kind of comes off as like I was so focused on this. It never dawned on me to take a step back and look at this, if that makes sense. Whether this is playing out in romantic situations or this is playing out within work regards, it's going to be different for everyone. But there is someone, man or woman, that's in the Empress energy now, from the Empress energy now, can see, oh, this is where I fucked up. Because instead of looking at this, like I said, I was looking at this. I was focusing on this. That's this right here. Because someone has crossed that bridge, no pun intended, we've been talking about burnt bridges for the last fucking 2 weeks on this platform. I kind of want to sit down. Moving on from that, I have the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is telling me that someone is now in a position, is now ready, or can now move forward from something, from the thought of something, because Swords does speak of the cerebral and something that I'm thinking about, something that is on my mind, something that is heavy on my mind, etc., right? Devil energy coming right after the Six of Swords. I feel like it speaks volumes, because where someone is in the Empress position today, now, at this moment, right? Like I said, whether you've been in this Empress energy or in this position for the last day, for the last week, for the last month, it's going to be different for everyone. Because for some of us, this Empress with the Ten of Cups, that comes in kind of out of nowhere. For some of us, there's just something that kind of, you're able to make sense of something in a way where you couldn't previously. I think that you couldn't because you were too focused on devil energy, or too focused in your devil energy, right? Because we all have some toxicity. We all have, some of us have more than others, but, you know, we all have it. We are all capable of it, right? And so for the Six of Swords, this is somebody who is not just moving, they're not moving toward the devil energy with the Six of Swords, because the Six of Swords came first, right? So the way that I'm looking at it, someone's moving through. I want to say someone's moving through. It kind of feels, somebody's aware that they can't just go around this. They can't just go the opposite way. They have to go through it, feel it, experience it, live it, give it its moment, learn those lessons in order to get to the other side of it. Because then what we see on the other side of the Devil card was the Four of Swords, or is the Four of Swords. The 4 and the 10, first of all, is a Ten of Swords. So this is somebody who's ending something. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a toxic habit, whether it's toxic habits, whether it's toxic, whether it's addictions, all those things. The point is, the Ten of Swords speaks of something coming to an end. The Ten of Swords, the way we're seeing it, is broken up. Someone's very clear from the beginning, because this was first, right? Someone's very clear in the Six of Swords. Listen, put whatever you got to put on, put the armor, put whatever it is you got to bring. And let's move forward here, because we got to get through this. Strap your boots, get whatever you need to get. Let's see this. We have to see it through. We can't go around it to get to the Four of Swords. In order to get to the Four of Swords, we got to go through this. We got to go through the storm. It's, you know, something like that. If this is at work, this is something that's going to be very difficult to do, but it's something that's necessary. If this is like having to take, if this is at work, for example, right? Perfect example. This is a small business of 20 employees. Every employee has a fucking pivotal role in that business. Because of everything that's going on, because of the government shutdown, because of all the shit that's taking place, we may have to make cuts. Where it was a business of 20 people, we may have to break it down to 10, 15, however many people, right? That's looking at something like this, right? We were talking about the Empress and the 10 of Cups. That's looking at it this close and looking at it like this small of a, I'm honing in on this. We have to make cuts because the money is short. We have to make cuts. That's someone who's closed-minded looking at this, right? But when you take the step back, you realize we're a small business of 20 and the government has shut down. We are all equally going through shit, right? This is not your struggle is bigger than mine. Mine is bigger than yours. Everybody's going through something and we are all going to be affected. I love the conversations about SNAP being affected and Medicaid and all that shit, SSI being affected, and everybody. I've had a few people tell me like, yo, you haven't made no comments on this. You usually take a stand. You usually pick a side whenever certain things go down. I've always been the side that I'm on now, right? I've just enjoyed and have utilized and have seen a lot of benefit in taking kind of a seat, sitting this one out, because I'm noticing that a lot of people that I have on my platforms, just looking at the shit that they're reposting and the shit that they're posting about their stances, and it's their true, people's true colors are like coming out in this time, right? And so it's funny how I just brought this hypothetical collective message and made it a clear point here, because the way that for the last week or so, when I tell you I've gotten a few messages, quite a few, it's more than several messages of people telling me like, you haven't made a comment. You haven't made a comment yet. You haven't said anything. We usually come to your platforms because you take a stance on something, you know? And that's interesting because even for this message, so again, the example being, instead of somebody looking at it, Empress and the 10 of Cups, instead of somebody looking at it like it's just this, this is my focus, this is my goal, because I'm going through it, because I'm being affected, or this part that other people, millions of people may be affected by, but it's not affecting me directly, so it's cool, I can look at it like this. Somebody goes from that thought frame, from that mentality, to taking a step back. Check, it's package, a package. What I was gonna say, I hope it's a package. Yeah, it's a package. It's still early. Don't do me, sis. Somebody's going from that mind state to, and it's very interesting because for years we've been saying not everybody could go. Not everybody could come with you on the boat. Not everybody could come with you. Certain people you're gonna have to leave behind, and that's still very much the truth. But for the ones that do go with you, for the ones that believe in the same things you believe in, for the ones that are locked in as far as their integrity is concerned, in the ways that you're locked in as far as your integrity is concerned, for the ones that share the space with you because they share in the humanitarianism, because they share in the empathy, right? For those that do go with you, there's a clear understanding that we have to work through this. We cannot work around, over, or under this government shutdown, this terrible time, this depressive time, this time of loss, this time of famine. Because I love how the conversation now is about SNAP and Medicaid and all that shit, but which affects every one of us. Even those of us who don't receive those benefits, we're all being affected, even if we don't see it yet. So don't get the two confused. But I love how the conversation is now that, and not everyone, but it seems to be that collectively people have lost the plot. there's still children and women and innocent men being blown up on the other side of the globe every day. That's still very much a thing. We when Tupac said they got money for wars but no money to feed the poor, we just sent, what we just sent, was it Australia? We just sent them like $2 billion, but there's no money to feed the homeless in America. So these narratives, I get it, they catchy, they sound good in theory, but again, don't get it twisted. Because the only way to this Four of Swords, which is healing, right? And peace, and actually like being tranquil and being like in your serene energy, in order to achieve that, you have to go through it. Which I feel like this is a collective message all in itself. If this would have came out alone, this would be the collective message all in itself. Because collectively, like I said, whether you get benefits from the government, whether you're the one who's contributing to those benefits, whether you're, because even the people who get benefits still pay taxes. So I love when people be like, oh, these taxes being taken out of my check. Taxes are being taken out of everybody's check. Taxes are being taken out of people in Puerto Rico pay taxes for the United States. Okay? For everybody that was just talking shit about the Bad Bunny thing, like, people in Puerto Rico pay taxes for us over here. We're all in it. In some way, shape, or form, we're all going to be affected by it. What's happening right now, because just a few years ago, everybody was on social media talking about Project 2025 was like something that was imaginative. It was a conspiracy theory. Okay, because if we go back and you do your homework enough and your research enough, the things that was written in those reports is essentially what's happening right now. Verbatim. Verbatim. So, that's a whole thing right there. For those of y'all, like I said, for anybody who's watching me and you're fairly new and you're not that deep yet, welcome to the ghetto. We get real deep real quick on this platform. That's number one. In simplest forms, the message is a business of 20 people, government's being shut down. The Empress with the 10 of Cups, before she got there, she would have looked at this like, this is affecting them, not me. And so I can just remove 10 people from the company, and the 10 of us that are left can feed off of this and sustain. What you don't realize when you look at something closed-minded is just how much you're going to be impacted. Because if you go from a business of 20 people and you cut off 10 people and only leave 10, that means that the 10 that you're leaving in the business are going to have to accommodate and make up for the 10 that just left. So where this was a business of 20, right, for simple minds, right? If it's a business of 20, simple math, you cut out 10, so you cut out half. And when it was a business of 10, everyone had their own respective roles. But now you cut that in half, so now everybody who has already had their respective role now has an added role to their plate. And so you're going to overwork 10 people. And what you're getting paid is the same thing you were getting paid when you were just doing your job. But now you got to do your job and someone else's job because they just had to get rid of someone. And you're going to be still getting paid the same thing you were getting when you were just doing your own job. Because that's like biting off the hand and not realizing that you're going to need it later. Biting off your own hand and not realizing you're going to need it later. Somebody was closed-minded. Somebody was looking at something like, it really is not going to affect me. It's just really affecting this. And so I can do these tweaks and know, like, you know, we're still going to be good, or I'm still going to be good. But they didn't realize that making those tweaks was going to affect them probably even more than had they addressed something head on. Because a business of 20 people, the government is shutting down, this is happening, that's happening, all the things is going on. There's ways where you can still sustain with keeping the 20 people that are there. So if the original 10 people were not greedy and they were willing to take a pay cut, there would be enough to divide the pie equally between the original 10 and the other 10. Does that make sense? Whereas because the original 10 don't want to take the pay cut, they want to hold on to their pinnacle to that last cent. What they're doing is cutting out the people that are doing the work that they were originally not willing to do. Now they're going to have to do that because somebody got to do it. In order to get anything, the work has to get done. So we're going to cut out the help that we were getting so that we can keep their portion of the pay. Does that make sense? I mean, it doesn't actually make sense, but the way that I'm explaining it, I hope that it makes sense. The action of what people are doing doesn't make sense, which is why we're seeing somebody going from whatever she was in previously or whatever he was in previously into an Empress with the Ten of Cups. Because at this stage right here, somebody's realizing this government shutdown, we all going to be affected. Even though I never got Snap a day in my life. Or even though I didn't get Snap since my mom was on Snap when I was a child. But as an adult, I've never had it. Because there's a lot of those people that are like, well, we're not affected, so it don't matter. You will be. You probably 10 times out of 10, you are already being affected. You just don't even realize it. Because it's all a chain reaction. It's all a chain reaction. Somebody is realizing this. Somebody is growing up. Somebody is maturing. Somebody is wisening up because they're looking at something like, oh, this is a greater scheme of things. This is 10 of Cups. In the 10 of Cups, we're not talking about me or you individually. In the 10 of Cups, this is a whole. In the 10 of Cups, this is a nosotros type of thing. Us. Every single one of us. Not just y'all or not just them or not just you. So somebody is growing up and realizing this. I would love to believe that this is happening collectively. That this is something where it's like, it's not just one or two people having this awakening. I would love to come to a place. I would love to live in long enough to see where we collectively can get to a place where we're in this position. Because again, even in the example of the 10 employees being cut or not, we're going to thug it out. We're going to keep the 10 and we're going to thug it out. We all going to take the pay cut. All 20 of us is going to take the pay cut. Because as a human, having a human experience, it's inhumane to cut someone off and say, well, fuck you and your children and your family. Y'all figure out how y'all going to eat just so that we can have more. That's savage shit. That's, you know, people who fucking like bet on pit bulls fighting, chickens fighting and shit. Like, it's like back in the gladiator days when the kings and the emperors and shit would put men in the arenas to fight. But the fight wasn't like a fair one. It was like you fight till one of y'all is dead type of thing. It's barbaric shit. It's shit that you see done with animals. So if this is a business, this is somebody who's deciding collectively, all 20 of us are going to take the pay cut, the same pay cut, so that we can all still eat and we can all still sustain. I'm not okay. This is a boss saying or even if it's not work, this is someone saying, we're going to go through this. We're going to go through it together so that not one of us is left behind. That's the 10 of Cups. The 9 of Cups with the Queen of Pentacles, it's wild, right? Because this speaks to someone's empathy. The Queen of Pentacles, we oftentimes look at her as very much has it where she can definitely be codependent, where, you know, the energy of giving, and never actually receiving anything in return. The thing is that I feel like this is someone's mom, or this is the mom in someone who's appreciating this. If this is like family, like an actual family, and let's say 2 siblings, 3 siblings, 8 siblings, I don't give a fuck how many siblings you got. This specifically feels like siblings that have not spoken for whatever the reason is. Whatever the reason is or was, it wasn't important in the greater scheme of things. Nobody wins when the family feuds. So there's a mom figure here who's... Because for some of y'all, this mom may have passed. But she's still watching and she's probably spinning in her grave because her children are still feuding, because her family is up in smoke, because every value that she tried to instill, that she sacrificed to instill in these kids, in these grandkids and whatever, is kind of out the window. It's like everything. Imagine living your whole life sacrificing for your children to be ungrateful, evil, spiteful, fucking deranged, and selfish. What? Because that's the energy here. For those of y'all where this is not someone who's literally like, yo, y'all need to get it together, there is an energy here where this little bit is in all of us, even the males. There's a part, this is empathy. That's why I said this is empathy. There's a part of us, all of us, there has to be. I would go as far as to say there's a part even in the monsters that take lives and do crazy barbaric shit. There's a small, even the smallest fragment in them where their wish, Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment, was that things were different. Or how close someone came to things actually being different than what they ended up being. This is also the reality for someone sitting back, realizing that they made one choice and it kind of set off the domino effect of like the trajectory of what their rest of their life was going to be. Somebody made one choice and it not only affected the rest of their life, but it affected their children. And I think that somebody made this choice from wherever the Empress was before being in the Empress position. When someone was focusing on themselves, when someone was focusing from a selfish state, which is interesting because they're showing me the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles is anything but selfish, which tells me that some of us may have been dealing with severely narcissistic mothers or grandmothers, severely narcissistic, because the energy is, I am selfish, but I'm doing it in a way, I've master manipulated my way through this. I've been able to make it look like I'm doing it and I'm in service, but really I'm only in service to myself. At the end of the day, every good deed I do is because I know I'm going to get something back in return. So, you know, hindsight, I am doing things that are good, but I'm only doing those things that are good because I'm being watched. I'm doing it for notoriety, or because I'm being paid. Something's going to come back to me. That's an energy there with this Queen of Pentacles. Which I feel like the next card is the Hangman. I feel like ultimately that's why there's a family dynamic or a bloodline that's been stalled. So if this is not your mom, it could be your grandmother, your great-grandmother, whoever. Because now this feels kind of like ancestral. Because the Hangman speaks of blockages. And I always say, like, the Hangman used to trigger the fuck out of me. Where a Tower or the Devil card never triggered me, the Hangman always triggered me. Until I understood that the Hangman was because it was an opportunity, really. It was an opportunity to see something from a different perspective. To learn. Where our ancestors before us, our grandmothers, our mothers, they didn't do it the right way. And so we can spend our whole lives bitching and moaning that this is the cards that we were dealt. This is our shortcomings. This is what happened. We were the victims, yada, yada, yada. Or we could look at what transpired, identify certain key points, especially for those of us who still have our mothers. It's so important, especially if you still have your mom and you've had like a toxic dynamic with your mom, to understand, even if you can't bring yourself to a point where you can say, well, I can understand, because if I was in your shoes, I would have did it that way too. Even if you don't go there, because people oftentimes get the thought of, or the word perspective, they get it convoluted with that belief of, I spoke to someone recently. I'm not going to go into detail about this because it's super personal. But I spoke to someone recently who was super convoluted. Like super to the, I don't even know, 10th power. Because their thought of, well, I don't want to see it from her perspective. The lady told me, I don't want to see it from her perspective. And when we peeled back the layers enough to realize she fought for years, 20, 30 years probably close to 30 years. The better half of 30 years, she fought of not wanting to see or not wanting to be able to see things from the perspective of her own mom. Because in her mind, she equated having that understanding with agreeing with what was done. And that's two totally different things. You can bring yourself, and not just with a mom, with anyone, you can bring yourself to a place where you can see where someone, maybe not you if you were in their shoes, but someone would be so desperate, or would be so traumatized, or would be so hurt, or would be so just fucked up from everything that they've been through, that has happened in their life, that has transpired, where they would make certain decisions that aren't rational, that aren't healthy, that aren't sustainable, that aren't from an empathetic place, that aren't filled with integrity. You can devil energy, because even if we talk about like the biblical term, the devil was once an angel. And if for those of y'all who are super religious, first of all, you're super religious and you're on this platform, shout out to you, right? Because most people are deterred from us. But for those of y'all who are super religious, or for people who are super religious, the devil was once an angel in the Bible. It never crossed your mind why God didn't kill the devil, because he could have. But the devil was necessary. He was a necessary player. And also there was an energy where even God understood. You have to believe at some level God understood that whatever that happened to the devil, or whatever went through the devil's mind, or the devil's heart, at some level God had to have come to a place where, even if I don't agree, even if I couldn't see a place where I would do the same thing and I would turn and I would be like this, I can understand that you did go through something and it did bring you to a point where you are like this. That's perspective. It's the Hangman. The Two of Wands, Justice, and the Fool. This as a whole is super dope, this energy, because this is every day. We make decisions every day that affect us on a long-term scale. And I think we're going through so much just as individuals, because look at what's happening collectively. I just went on a little baby tangent of the whole government shit, right? But like on personal levels, we're all going through our own shit individually. That every day it's almost, my dad used to say this. I hate it because I always go back to something that man told me. Like, I love it, but I hate it at the same time. It's very bittersweet. But he used to always tell me, like, yo, every day, you wake up every day and you make the same choices every day, every day, every day, every day. And in your mind, you feel like, you know, every day is the same shit. Every day, the same shit. Same shit, different toilet. Every day, the same thing. And you go through life saying that. You don't even realize, you wake up one day and you realize that that thing, 2016 was 20 years ago. 10 years ago, however many years ago. So it's not just the other day. And you also realize, like, every day you get up and same shit, different toilet. But when you look back, 2016, you were living a whole different life than what you live in today. Because at some point you made decisions every day that led you to where you are today. Every day we make choices that change the trajectory of our day, of our week, of our year, the next 6 months, like every day. Every day. I do a lot of work with addicts, and I'm not going to share here, but maybe one day, right? I have this conversation a lot with Izzy since she was really little. There's such a misconception with people who have addiction, and more so specifically people who have heavy addictions to like alcohol or like heavy drugs. Because the average person has an addiction to something. Do you drink coffee every day? I hate to break it to you, but you're an addict. You have an addictive, you have an addiction. You drink soda every day? Do you have to have something sweet every day? Do you have to go to the gym every day? You're addicted to these things. It's just, we're creatures of habits. We all have something, right? But there's this big, huge misconception of people who specifically utilize drugs. Whether it's crack, heroin, whatever it is, right? And it's always crazy to me how people who like smoke cigarettes, like cigarettes is like because now in the last like 20 years, the hookah thing, especially in New York City where I'm from, the hookah thing has like taken on a life of its own. Especially in the Hispanic like communities, like the Dominicans, they love fucking hookah. There's no function without a fucking hookah. There's no function without a hookah these days in the last like 10 years. But that didn't come out of nowhere. Like, people in the Middle East been doing hookah for centuries. That's been a thing for the longest time, right? I've never read the Bible, but I'm probably pretty sure there's some type of something of the hookah in the damn Bible somewhere, probably, right? I mean, they talk about frankincense, they talk about myrrh, they talk about all that shit. I don't see how they don't talk about hookah. Maybe not like that, maybe not in that term, but I'm pretty sure it's there somewhere. That's not the point. The point is, people who do hookah, yo, I love it. I love it, right? People who do hookah they always hit you with the okie doke. Ew, get that away from me, in reference to people who smoke cigarettes. They always like, nah, I just do hookah. I don't do that. That other shit is nasty. So you don't know that when you hit in the hookah even one time, that's equivalent to like a pack of cigarettes? No. So because it smells like fruit, it's better, it's different, it's not the same, or that's just what you're telling yourself so that you can do what you're doing and not feel guilty about it. Because essentially you're killing yourself faster than the people who are actually smoking cigarettes. And we know people who smoke cigarettes, you're killing yourselves. You're taking hours, days, years off your lives every cigarette you smoke. But it's like cigarettes is like the crack in regard to, because even now with the vaping, people are like, oh, I vape, I don't do hookah, I don't do cigarettes. So you're inhaling a chemical that you don't even know what the fuck it is. That makes it better. I'm saying this because there's always something. I don't even know what this is because I'm not a fucking scientist, but this is like, it's got to be something in our brain that has us wired to like, well, your problem is bigger than my problem. Your habit is worse than mine. But then in the same time, it's like, well, but I've been through more pain than you've been through. So I have a right to do the fucked up shit that I do because I've been through more shit, more heavier shit than you've been through. My trauma is bigger than yours. Why we do this, I don't know. I'm still learning, right? But do we do this every day? Every fucking day we do this, right? And so anyway, I'm saying all of this because I do a lot of work with addicts. And a lot of times there's this misconception that people who are on heroin or who are on crack or whatever the drug is, right? People who are on heavy drugs, there's always this misconception that they literally woke up one day and chose to be a heroin addict. They chose to wake up one day and smoke crack. And it never, in my experience, in not only just the work that I do every day for the last almost 9 years, but also I have such pivotal relationships, dynamics in my personal life, in my family, people that I love with my whole heart that have struggled with certain things like this. I've never come across an addict that said, I did it because one day I got up and I thought it was going to be the cool thing to do. Which is it's so ironic to me because I brought up the hookah thing for a reason, because it's so ironic because crackheads don't smoke crack and think it's cute. But the people who's doing hookah in the clubs, they on camera and that's the only thing you see. Everybody that goes to the club now, they go to the club to smoke hookah and record themselves on Snapchat. That was a whole thing. It's been a whole thing for the last like fucking 10 years, right? And so people, again, people who suffer from alcoholism, they don't get up one day and say, I'm going to drink a beer and never be the same after this. Because this is all tying in. I promise I'm getting somewhere with this. They don't get up one day and say, I'm going to drink this and end up being dependent on this for the next 40 years of my life. And I think it's the cutest thing in the world. They don't do that. I had a kid that I do calls with. He's 19 years old. He's my daughter's age. The other day we were on a call and I literally threatened him. I ain't even gonna lie. I even wrote his mom a message after the fact because I felt like as a parent, I wouldn't appreciate nobody putting their foot on my daughter's neck that way. But at the same time, like, you know how they say it takes a village? So, like, I wouldn't appreciate it, but it depends on your intention because then I might appreciate it, right? But I for sure had my foot on his neck because why the fuck did he ever think it was okay? We on a fucking call, and most of my calls I do like this. It looks like a Zoom. You know, we're on like a face call. And we were talking like 20 minutes, and he came out with a fucking, those vape things. First of all, it looked like a dildo. Yo, when I tell y'all I went on a tangent, yo, he was crying. He was crying. That even afterwards I spoke to his mother was like, I'm glad you did that, because she didn't even know he was vaping, you know? Point is, they doing it, y'all doing it because it's cute. It's the thing to do, right? When I said my father used to always say, every day we complain, same shit, different toilet, same shit, different toilet. But we're not realizing that every day we're making certain choices that are changing the trajectory of the rest of our lives. Somebody picked up a vape today, and in 5 years, they're going to be diagnosed with like terminal cancer. And because they picked up the vape, they bought a vape today, It started their, it accelerated their journey. It cut their lives, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. Every day you make a choice. I made a choice and was with someone when I was 16, and by the time I was 17 I was a mother, and that one choice to have that one conversation changed the rest of my life. For the rest of my life, it changed the trajectory even of my child's life. It was one choice, and here I am 20 years later. Not that I'm complaining, because in my case I feel like she saved me, right? It was necessary. But I did have that choice of not having that conversation, of not entering that dynamic, of not being in that relationship, of probably never even going down this road. I would have been somewhere entirely different if I would have even still been here. The shit that I was doing when I was a fucking teenager, I probably would have been dead right now. I've been saying it since my daughter was born. She saved me. But that's not to take away from the message. You make choices every day, and you don't realize how these choices affect you on a long-term scale. So today's message, which we always say, the judgment has to go. It has to go. Especially if, because it's so many of us casting judgment on other people but we're avoiding with every ounce and inch in us of looking at ourselves for the shit that we're doing that could be judged as well. Some people, collective, they wake up every day and they choose chaos. And they do that with the most purest intention. Every day somebody is waking up and choosing chaos. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go through it. I got to go. Because if I don't go through it now, I got to go through it in 5 years. So I'd rather get it out the way now. Every day people are getting up and making certain choices that some of us make choices every day that others of us, a lot of us, couldn't even begin to comprehend. I was 17 and I was doing it. Perfect example, and then we're going to wrap because I got to get in the shower. But Izzy's most, these glasses, Izzy's most intense day of the week is Saturday. Right now, Shorty's still out in the world hustling right now. She won't be home till like 10 o'clock. And when she first started this season of her life, we had this real serious conversation because she was dragging her ass for like 2 weeks on making this decision. And I had the conversation with her and I told her, like, do it and get it done. Because if you don't do it now, you're going to have to do it next season, the season after, or the season after that. Get it done now, and you never got to revisit it. You're doing the hard work now. For her, it's hard because it's not just the capacity of the day. For her, it's hard because that if she has an important and heavy day on Saturday, her Fridays, she can't really have Fridays. You know what I'm saying? And so her being a young adult is like, damn, I got to give up my Fridays and my Saturdays because of my commitment on Saturdays. The thing is that, like last week, she hit me and she did it, right? She did it. She's been thugging it out. She's been doing so fucking good. She's been excelling by the grace of God. Thank you, Lord, right? It's not been easy. It's been a struggle, but she's been doing it. Last week, she got the new schedule for the next season, and she has more than what she could have thought she would have, all because she gave up having fun now. So now this next semester, I'm trying to say without saying too much because I ain't trying to give y'all my daughter's schedule. You feel me? But all this to say, she made this sacrifice now in this season, and next season she gets to flourish. But this season, she got to be a thug. So maybe that's the message for today. And I think some of us, because to start it this way tells me that what's most important here is that a lot of us are dealing with people. Some of the people that we're dealing with have had or are having these coming to Jesus moments, so to speak, even if it's not religious, where it's like, oh shit, I really was fucking up, but I'm back on track here. I really wasn't in my best. Empress energy, I wasn't in my best. I was really fucking around, but I see the bigger picture here. So all these weeks we've been talking about coming back into union, this retrograde pre-shadow, all these things, right? That's been like coming up in the readings, burning the bridges, all these things. This right here, seeing this right here is super dope. Because this tells me that it's not just, it's not like it's not, and I don't want to throw shade to no other readers, but you know, a lot of the readers are like, your ex from 2 seasons ago, he's coming back. She's going to be more toxic than ever. Be careful, blah, 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 blah. This is not that channel, bro. All these weeks we've been talking about energies resurfacing, people coming back, certain things being brought back to the surface, certain things being revisited, certain things being regurgitated in certain ways. And make no mistake that these are all decisions that we actively all have free will in making. So if it is a toxic ex and you're not with the shits, you have the free will choice on saying you're still a dub, my friend, right? You still have that. But take that second and be sure before you make that decision. Don't just shun someone away, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, a sibling, because I was talking about siblings before, your child, an ex, your ex-baby daddy, whatever, whoever, however they spun it, however toxic they was. Make sure before you make these decisions, make sure you're in this energy and make sure you understand that you're in this energy. Because a lot of times we're in the hangman and we think we're stuck there. And it's actually the energy, the universe, God, however, whatever you believe in is actually something higher giving us that moment to actually think something through. Did this person learn? Is this person now in shape enough to come with me? Did they get it together right before this boat takes off? Like, is this what we're doing? Or is this person still in whatever energy they were in prior to this? Because for this to come up, these are the first 2 cards. I don't even know what the Empress looked like before she was the Empress. Which tells me that this is very in general. We're talking about, we have the devil on the table, but the devil is getting worked through. It's light work. The devil's here. So what was this Empress like before? Because whatever she was like before was toxic. So even if she was in her Queen of Swords, it was that black and white energy that it is or it's not, but it was in a toxic way. If she was the Queen of Wands before that, it was straight ego. No emotions, no empathy, no, I don't even give a fuck what's right and what's wrong. In the Queen of Wands, it's what I can get away with. So we don't even know what she was in or what this person was in right before this. The point is that at this point, this is what they're on, and this is how we can move forward. I said this was going to be quick. I always do that. The OGs saw the title and said a quick reading. Ha, ha, ha. That's funny. I just know it. I just know it. Because in the fucking 6-7 years we've been on here, every time I say I'm going to do it quick, I'm on here for 3 hours. So, collective. I love you guys wholeheartedly, and I fuck with you guys the longest way. If you didn't hit the like button on your way in, please hit it on your way out. I have to wash my ass. And then we'll be live on the vlog channel. And I'm going to do a little bit of like a get ready with me because I still don't even know what I'm wearing. How about that one? Like, it's between 2 outfits, but I'm not sure which way I'm going. So we might fuck around and have like a little try on haul. And y'all tell me. Help a girl out. So, what time is it? About to be 6:30. I got some time. So, for those of y'all who are on the vlog channel, I'll see you guys over there in about an hour or so. To everybody else, we'll see you guys mañana. We'll pick up where we left off. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Sunday. Tomorrow's Sunday, yeah. We'll be on tomorrow. I love you guys. I fuck with you guys the longest way. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, or I'll catch you guys in a few minutes. Not too much on me. I look crazy. Not too much on me.